Hey everybody, Alec Tackmann here. We're looking at GoAndPractice Book 3. This is page 34 and 35, the 6-stroke fill variation, part 1 and 2. So this is going to be pretty similar to the previous two pages. There's only one slight difference here. So what I'm doing instead today is I'm playing a jazz set here with small kick drum, high-pitched toms and all that stuff, so you can hear a little bit of a different color that you can get out of this fill here. So we'll just jump right in. Number 1, again, similar to before, it's going to be right, left, bass in triplets. Instead of the last one that had a double on the left, this is going to be a double on the right. So starting off playing, number 1 is triplets. You're going to have same thing as before, accent the right hand a little bit. The speed limit here is set on how fast you can coordinate that kick drum in there, as well as the double stroke. Now, I think this one, it just has a little bit different flow to it. I think it's just having to do the double in the right hand. It feels a little bit faster, but one kind of cool thing with this is you can change the accent. So if I play it as written, just accenting the right hand, it's not that much different sounding from the previous page, but because the left is doing singles, and this isn't in the book, I should have put this in. I don't think I came up with this till afterward, but just accent all those left hand singles, and you get a totally other different sound out of it. So I'll play it the first way and shift to the left hand accents. So. And it's a little strange because you're basically hammering the second partial of the triplet over and over and over, which is a pretty unnatural place to hit it. But when you're playing it quickly, it kind of works because it just sounds like this parallel, counting that's happening aside of all the other, craziness that's going on. So anyway, number 2, same thing. Now we're just voicing the right hand differently. So we start normally going to the left and then just move to the right, the same we did before. You play slowly as triplets, that would work. Crank it up, play it as your, 6 tuplets. It works either way. In number 3, parking the left hand on the rack tom and moving the right hand from the floor tom to the snare. If you're going to play this one in the context of a groove, you want to really make sure that the double stroke on the right hand is actually bop, like swinging. So I'd make sure to accent like the second one a little bit more. I only use this version if it's like a free solo type thing, and I think this one sounds really cool when the snares are off, so you get this kind of thing going. Again, you can play around with the left accents. Number 4 is the same thing, just switching directions. Snares on also. Let's see. Lastly, number 5. 5 is the same one I had done in the intro bit at the beginning of the video. Just voicing the right hand down the toms. And we're highlighting that rhythm. Just make sure that comes out, and then you're cool. So that's a nice segue to the next page here, though. That rhythm we're playing, bum-ba-dum, bum-ba-dum, in the right hand is pretty much the jazz ride cymbal pattern, just backwards. So that's actually we're getting into number 1 on page 35. If you position your right hand on the ride cymbal, and then keep the left hand here, do everything else the same. You basically have a flipped jazz pattern there with just some basic comping ideas. And number 2, same thing, just throw in the left foot. I did the other one first, sorry. Three and 4 on this page is taking number 1 and 2, but scooting them over so the jazz ride cymbal pattern is actually correct. So we're just starting midway through it now. So like in number 3, you've got, well, it's going to be right, left, bass, right, left, right now. Now that right hand pattern doesn't break. Now back to what I was talking about before about that left hand playing the middle part of the triplet. That becomes really funky here now because we're basically tapping the snare on the middle part of the triplet over and over and over. So like you kind of got to count through that one carefully. And most importantly, when you're doing any of this kind of jazz comping stuff, and this is kind of like a side note, when people are learning jazz comping vocabulary, usually they begin with their faces in a book, learning coordination exercises, and trying to get all the possible combinations and all that stuff. And then what happens is jazz becomes a 4-way coordination exercise. Don't forget, though, that the groove in the right hand still has to be there. So when you're learning all this stuff, like even we're just taking number 3, for example, does your ride cymbal still sound as nice as... So don't let the coordination stuff get in the way of the groove. That's a hugely important thing. And you can hear it in players, and I'm probably throwing a little slop in my own playing, guilty of the same problem. But don't let the 4-way coordination stuff obstruct the ride cymbal pattern. That's huge. And a good way to test yourself is record yourself doing some of these exercises, and then just like you could just tap quarter notes along to your own playback of your own recording. And if it's easy for you to play or to do that along to your own playing, then it'll be easy for the bassist to walk along to what you're doing. So just being able to tap quarters to your own drumming in jazz, that's going to be pretty evident if your groove is there or not. Anyway, number 4. Number 4 is the same thing I just did, but left foot. Exact same business. Cool little idea. And last one, number 5. This one is, again, kind of like a soloing freely idea, but it can work all right if you're careful. Following the same pattern, station your hands here, but have your right hand alternate between these two. So anyway, there's a couple different takes on a very similar fill from before, but you can see here some of these would sound kind of funky on a rock kit, but when you're playing the higher pitched toms and all that stuff, a lot of this just tends to work a little better. The drum set is a little more cohesive like this, and that's why I think jazz people tune it that way, is all of a sudden then your toms and your bass drum matter so much more. They're just more included into what the snare drum is doing. But anyway, that's all I got for that one. Again, thanks for checking out all the videos and all that. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you all next week on the next page. Thanks, bye.